Chapter 4. Of course, this sort of music's not intended for an audience, you see, Welch said, as he handed the copies round. The fun's all in the singing. Everybody's got a real tune to sing, a real tune, he repeated violently. You could say, really, that polyphony got to its highest point, its peak, at that period, and has been on the decline ever since. You've only got to look at the part-writing in things like, well, Onward, Christian Soldiers, the hymn, which is a typical... We're all waiting, Ned, Mrs. Welch said from the piano. She played a slow arpeggio, sustaining it with the pedal. All right, everybody. A soporific droning filled the air round Dixon as the singers hummed their notes to one another. Mrs. Welch rejoined them on the low platform that had been built at one end of the music room, taking up her stand by Margaret, the other soprano. A small, bullied-looking woman with unabundant brown hair was the only contralto. Next to Dixon was Cecil Goldsmith, a colleague of his in the college history department, whose tenor voice held enough savage power, especially above middle C, to obliterate whatever noises Dixon might feel himself impelled to make. Behind him and to one side were three basses, one a local composer, another an amateur violinist occasionally summoned at need by the city orchestra, the third, Evan Johns. Dixon ran his eye along the lines of black dots, which seemed to go up and down a good deal, and was able to assure himself that everyone was going to have to sing all the time. He'd had a bad setback 20 minutes ago in some Brahms rubbish, which began with 10 seconds or so of unsupported tenor, more accurately of unsupported Goldsmith, who'd twice dried up in face of a tricky interval, and left him opening and shutting his mouth in silence. He now cautiously reproduced the note Goldsmith was humming, and found the effect pleasing rather than the reverse. Why hadn't they had the decency to ask him if he'd like to join in, instead of driving him up onto this platform arrangement and forcing sheets of paper into his hand? The madrigal began at the bidding of Welch's arthritic forefinger.